Ladies and gentlemen, listen to me, because what I'm about to say has the power to change your life forever. Have you ever noticed that the more you care about what others think, the more miserable you become? The more you try to please everyone, the more they take you for granted. Ever wonder why the people who don't seem to try so hard often look like they're the happiest? That's not a coincidence. That's a lesson. And if you don't learn it willingly, life will teach it to you the hard way. Some of you are walking around with the weight of the world on your shoulders, carrying burdens that were never yours to begin with. You're worrying about opinions that won't pay your bills, losing sleep over people who wouldn't lose a minute for you. And I get it. You were raised to be kind, to be considerate, to give people the benefit of the doubt. But let me ask you something. At what cost? At the cost of your peace? Your happiness? Here's the truth. And I hope you really hear me. The less you care, the happier you become. I'm not talking about being careless. I'm talking about being free. Free from the chains of validation, from the need to be liked, from the fear of disappointing people who wouldn't hesitate to disappoint you. Have you noticed how your mind becomes a battlefield the moment you start worrying about what others think? You overanalyze every word, replay every conversation, and doubt every decision, all because you're terrified of being judged. You hesitate to speak your truth, to take risks, to stand out, because deep down, you're starving for approval. And the more you crave it, the more enslaved you become by it. You dress a certain way, talk a certain way, behave a certain way, not because it's who you are, but because you think it's what will keep you accepted. But here's the hard truth. No matter how much you try to fit in, someone will always have something negative to say. The world is full of critics, people who will find flaws even in your perfection. And the more you let their opinions shape you, the more miserable you become, because you're no longer living for yourself. You're performing, you're adapting, you're molding yourself into something you think others will approve of. And let me tell you, there is no faster way to lose yourself than to live for the approval of people who don't even truly see you. The moment you place too much value on other people's opinions, you become their puppet. Every move you make is dictated by fear, fear of rejection, fear of being misunderstood, fear of disappointing others. And that fear will suffocate your dreams. How many times have you stopped yourself from taking a step forward because you wondered, what will they think? How many times have you silenced your own desires because you didn't want to seem different, difficult, or selfish? You put your happiness on hold so others wouldn't be uncomfortable. You dim your light so no one else feels overshadowed, but you're the one suffering. Because when you let opinions control you, you lose the ability to trust yourself. You second-guess everything. You trade authenticity for acceptance. You shrink when you were born to expand. And worst of all, you end up exhausted, trying to meet expectations that were never yours to begin with. The world will always have something to say, but you have to decide if their voices matter more than your own. People will judge you no matter what. If you succeed, they'll say you got lucky. If you fail, they'll say they saw it coming. If you follow the rules, they'll call you boring. If you break them, they'll call you reckless. There is no winning in the eyes of people who are committed to misunderstanding you. And yet so many waste their lives trying to please an audience that will never be satisfied. You walk into rooms and immediately adjust yourself to be accepted. You stay quiet to avoid discomfort. You choose a path that's not aligned with your heart because you're afraid someone else won't approve. But here's the irony. The more you try to make everyone happy, the more miserable you become. Because the truth is, their opinions are not a reflection of you. They're a reflection of them, their fears, their insecurities, their limited beliefs. So why would you let their judgment dictate the direction of your life? Living for validation is a never-ending race, and there's no finish line. No matter how much approval you collect, it will never be enough. Because the moment you satisfy one critic, another one appears. Eventually you realize the approval you worked so hard for doesn't bring real happiness. It's temporary, fleeting, hollow, and it can be taken away the moment someone decides they don't like you anymore. But inner peace? That's different. Inner peace comes when you stop needing external validation to feel worthy. It comes when you realize your self-worth isn't measured by how many people like you, but by how much you respect yourself. When you stop chasing approval, you start attracting people who love you for who you truly are. That's freedom. That's happiness. Not bending, not conforming, not exhausting yourself trying to meet impossible standards. Just being you, unapologetically. You weren't born to live in the shadows of other people's opinions. You were born to create, to grow, to experience life fully. But the more you care about what others think, the more you hold yourself back. You pass up opportunities because someone might not understand your vision. You stay quiet when your voice is exactly what's needed. You hesitate to step into the spotlight because you're afraid of being judged. But what if you let that fear go? What if just for a moment you stopped caring so much? What if you did what made you happy, even if others didn't agree? What if you trusted your own intuition instead of always seeking permission? Imagine the weight that would lift off your shoulders. Imagine how much lighter, freer, and happier you'd feel. Because the moment you stop caring about the wrong things, you make space for the right ones. Things that bring you joy, fulfillment, and purpose. So many people are trapped in a life that isn't even theirs. They've built it around what others expect of them. They go to school for a degree they never wanted. They take jobs that drain their soul. They marry someone who looks good on paper but doesn't ignite their spirit. And for what? So they won't be judged. So they won't disappoint their family. So they won't feel like a failure in society's eyes. But here's the truth. Living a life you don't love is the real failure. Sacrificing your happiness to make others comfortable is the real mistake. Regret weighs heavier than judgment. And at the end of your life, you won't remember the opinions of those who doubted you. You'll remember the moments you stayed quiet when you should have spoken, the chances you didn't take, the dreams you buried out of fear of how they'd be received. And that kind of pain, no amount of approval can ever fix it. You have to understand, other people's opinions of you are none of your business. What they think is their reality, not yours. You weren't put on this earth to meet their expectations. You were born to evolve, to discover who you truly are, to live a life that excites your soul. Yes, when you choose yourself, some people will be upset. Some will call you selfish. Some will try to guilt you into shrinking back into the version of you they're most comfortable with. But that's their problem, not yours. You are not responsible for how others feel about your growth. You are only responsible for making sure you don't betray yourself in the process of trying to be accepted. Because at the end of the day, you have to live with your choices. You have to look in the mirror and be proud of the person staring back at you. And that pride will never come if you spend your life being everything to everyone, but nothing to yourself. Fear of judgment is an illusion. It's a prison created by your own mind. The truth is, most people aren't thinking about you nearly as much as you think they are. They're too caught up in their own lives, their own struggles, their own insecurities. And even if they do judge you, so what? Will their opinions put food on your table? Will their approval build your dream? Will their words bring you peace? Number. The only thing their opinions do is steal your time, your energy, and your power. Power you could be using to build the life you truly want. The sooner you understand this, the sooner you reclaim your freedom. You stop explaining yourself. You stop justifying your choices. You stop tiptoeing around people who wouldn't do the same for you. And in that moment, you find a freedom most people will spend their whole lives searching for. Happiness isn't found in being liked. It's found in being real. It's found in trusting yourself enough to know that you don't need permission to exist as you are. It's found in loving yourself enough to walk away from anything that requires you to abandon your truth. Because when you finally stop caring about the opinions that don't matter, you start living a life that does. And that's when you realize you were never meant to be liked by everyone. You were meant to be free. Have you ever noticed how much energy you pour into people who wouldn't lift a finger for you? You're always there, always available, always checking in to make sure they're okay. But when it's your turn, when you're struggling, those same people are nowhere to be found. It hurts, doesn't it? It stings to realize the people you made a priority only ever saw you as an option. It's a harsh truth, but one you need to accept. Most people don't care about you the way you care about them. They enjoy your presence, your kindness, your support. But when it's time for them to return that energy, they disappear. If you don't recognize this for what it is, if you don't learn to stop expecting you from other people, you will spend your life disappointed, drained, and heartbroken. Some people only keep you around for convenience. They like what you do for them, how you listen, how you show up, how you carry their weight. But that doesn't mean they value you. That doesn't mean they respect you. And it definitely doesn't mean they would do the same for you if the roles were reversed. The sooner you understand that, the sooner you set yourself free. Because expecting loyalty from the wrong people is like expecting love from a stone. No matter how much you give, it will never give back. And it's not because you're unworthy of love. It's because some people simply aren't capable of giving it. Some people are too selfish, too self-absorbed, too consumed with their own needs to ever truly consider yours. And you've got to stop breaking yourself down to build relationships with people who won't even meet you halfway. Think about all the times you showed up for someone, only to find yourself standing alone when you needed them. Think about the nights you stayed up, worrying about someone who didn't give you a second thought. Think about the energy, the love, the care you poured into people who never once reciprocated it. Why do you keep doing that to yourself? Why do you keep expecting people to love like you, to care like you, to give like you? The truth is, not everyone has your heart. Not everyone operates the way you do. And one of the biggest mistakes you can make is assuming that just because you would do something for someone, they would do it for you. That's not how the world works. Some people will take and take until there's nothing left. They'll drain you, use you, and once you have nothing more to offer, they'll move on to the next person who will. And if you don't wake up to that reality, you'll keep being a victim of it. Here's the sad part. The people who take you for granted know exactly what they're doing. They know you're the one who will always forgive, always understand, always be there, no matter how they treat you. And that's why they don't change. Why would they? Why would they respect someone they know will tolerate anything? People only start valuing you when they fear losing you. They only start showing respect when they know they can't walk all over you. As long as you keep proving your worth to people who refuse to see it, as long as you keep tolerating mistreatment, you'll never receive the love or respect you deserve. You have to stop pouring into empty cups. You have to stop showing up for people who wouldn't even notice if you walked away. You have to stop expecting people to be someone they've already shown you they're not. It's time to protect your heart. It's time to stop letting people use you. It's time to recognize who truly cares and who's just keeping you around for convenience. And the way you figure that out is simple. Pay attention to actions, not words. People can say they love you all day long, but do their actions match their words? Do they check in on you the way you check in on them? Do they make time for you the way you always make time for them? Do they stand by you in the hard times the way you stood by them? If the answer is no, stop making excuses for them. Stop convincing yourself they care when they've given you no real proof that they do. Love is shown, not spoken. And when someone's actions don't align with their words, believe the actions. Every single time. You've got to stop taking everything so personally. Some people are just selfish. Some people are just users. Some people are simply incapable of loving you the way you love them. And that has nothing to do with you. It doesn't mean you're unlovable. It doesn't mean you're not worthy. It just means they are not your people. Instead of wasting your energy trying to make them see your worth, walk away and give that love to yourself. Because the right people, the ones who genuinely care, won't make you beg for attention. They won't disappear when you need them. They won't treat you like an option while you treat them like a priority. The right people will show up. They will be consistent. They will make you feel valued, effortlessly. Those are the people who deserve your time, your energy, your heart. But here's the real problem. Too many of you are afraid to let go, afraid to be alone, afraid that if you stop giving, stop chasing, stop trying to prove your worth, you'll lose people. But let me ask you this. If you constantly have to prove your worth to someone, is that someone really worth keeping? If you have to fight for basic respect, is that even a relationship worth saving? The answer is no. Love, respect, and loyalty should never feel like a battle. They should never feel like something you have to earn. And if someone makes you feel like you have to work for their attention, their kindness, their effort, they're not your people. Real love doesn't drain you. Real friendship doesn't feel like a burden. The right people will match your energy. They'll make you feel appreciated without you having to beg for it. It's time to stop giving your heart to people who don't deserve it. It's time to stop caring more about people than they care about you. It's time to put yourself first. And I know for some of you that sounds selfish. But let me tell you, self-preservation is not selfish. Choosing your peace over toxic relationships is not selfish. You cannot keep emptying your cup for people who never refill it. You cannot keep giving love to people who only take and never give back. You deserve more than that. You deserve relationships that are mutual. You deserve love that's returned. And if someone can't meet you at the level you love, they don't deserve access to you. Period. The moment you stop expecting people to be like you, you set yourself free. You stop feeling disappointed. You stop feeling hurt. You stop feeling drained by relationships that were never meant to last. Instead, you begin to focus on you, your peace, your joy, your well-being. Because at the end of the day, the most important relationship you'll ever have is the one with yourself. And you owe it to yourself to protect that relationship at all costs. So stop chasing, stop proving, stop overextending for people who wouldn't do the same for you. The ones who truly care will show it, and the ones who don't, let them go. You spend so much of your life worrying about what others think. You stress over their opinions. You seek their approval. You bend over backward trying to become what they want. And for what? To be liked? To fit in? To avoid judgment? Let me tell you something. The more you care about pleasing people, the more miserable you become. You will never be happy if your happiness depends on the validation of others, because people will judge you no matter what. Whether you succeed or fail, whether you follow the rules or break them, someone will always have something to say. People will form opinions about your life even when they have no understanding of it. So why are you wasting your energy trying to impress them? Why are you letting their words shape how you live? The day you stop caring about their opinions is the day you set yourself free. The less you care, the lighter you feel. The freer you become, the happier you get. Think about how much energy you've wasted worrying about what others think. How many times have you held yourself back out of fear of judgment? How many situations have you stayed in, jobs, relationships, friendships, just to avoid disappointing someone else? And where did that get you? Nowhere. Because no matter what you do, someone will always have an opinion. You could be the kindest, most hardworking, most genuine person in the world, and someone will still find something to criticize. That's just how people are. So instead of trying to control how they see you, focus on how you see yourself. Instead of chasing their approval, seek your own. Because the moment you stop living for them and start living for yourself, everything changes. You begin making decisions that bring you joy. You start prioritizing your own peace. And that's when true happiness begins. But hear this, not caring doesn't mean being cold. It doesn't mean shutting people out or ignoring those who matter. It means being selective about whose opinions you let influence you. It means understanding that not everyone deserves a seat at your table or a voice in your life. Too many of you are giving power to people who don't even know your struggles, people who haven't walked a single step in your shoes. You're letting critics who don't matter define your worth. And for what? They don't live your life. They don't feel your pain. They don't carry your burdens. So why should their words carry so much weight? The only person who truly understands what's best for you is you. And once you fully accept that, once you stop letting outside noise control your inner peace, your life transforms. You realize that no matter how much love you give, no matter how genuine you are, you will never please everyone. You can be the most loyal friend, and someone will still betray you. You can show up for everyone, and someone will still say you didn't do enough. That's just how the world works. So stop wasting your time trying to win people over. Stop letting negativity live rent-free in your mind. Let them think what they want. Let them talk. Let them doubt. Because at the end of the day, their opinions don't change who you are. Their words don't define your worth. And the moment you realize that, the moment you stop chasing validation, you become unstoppable. You move with confidence. You protect your energy. You begin living a life that finally feels like your own. Happiness begins the day you stop seeking permission to be yourself. Too many people are living lives they don't even enjoy, all because they're too afraid of what others will say. They stay in jobs that drain them. They keep friendships that deplete them. They pretend to be someone they're not, all to avoid judgment. But what kind of life is that? Living for other people is not living at all. You weren't put on this earth to shrink into someone else's mold. You weren't meant to spend your life constantly explaining yourself, constantly proving yourself, constantly tiptoeing around the expectations of others. You were meant to be free. And you cannot be free if you're shackled by the fear of what people might think. The less you care about their opinions, the more you start doing things that actually make you happy. The more you choose you. And I know some of you are thinking, but what if they judge me? What if they talk about me? Let them judge, let them talk, let them misunderstand you. That's their problem, not yours. You don't owe anyone an explanation for how you choose to live. You don't need approval to follow your dreams, to make decisions that bring you peace, to be the person you were always meant to be. And the truth is, most people who judge you are simply projecting their own insecurities. They see you doing what they're too afraid to do. They see you breaking free from the same chains they're still trapped in. And instead of facing their fears, they criticize you for facing yours. But that's not your burden to carry. That's their battle, not yours. The moment you stop internalizing their negativity, you reclaim your power. You have to protect your peace at all costs. That means letting go of the need to be liked by everyone. That means accepting that not everyone will understand your journey. That means learning to be okay with being misunderstood. Because at the end of the day, your happiness is your responsibility. It's not your job to make people comfortable with who you are. It's not your job to meet their expectations. It's your job to live a life that brings you joy, even if that means disappointing a few people along the way. If choosing yourself means losing some friends, so be it. If it means standing alone for a while, so be it. Because the truth is, the right people will never ask you to shrink to fit their comfort. The right people will never make you feel like you have to prove your worth. The right people will love you for exactly who you are. And those are the only opinions that should matter. The more you care, the more you suffer. The more you try to control how people see you, the more frustrated and lost you become. At some point, you have to ask yourself, is it worth it? Is it worth stressing over opinions that change like the wind? Is it worth sacrificing your peace just to keep others happy? The answer is no. Life is too short to waste worrying about things you can't control. And the truth is, you can't control how people see you. You can't control their judgments, their assumptions, or their opinions. But you can control how much power you give them. You can control whether their words break you or build you. And the moment you take back that control, the moment you stop letting their negativity dictate your direction, you win. So let this be your wake-up call. Stop caring so much about what others think. Stop holding yourself back out of fear of judgment. Stop dimming your light just to make others feel comfortable. You were meant to shine. You were meant to live fully. You were meant to be happy. And happiness begins the very moment you decide that your peace, your joy, and your self-worth will never again be determined by other people's opinions. The less you care, the freer you feel. The freer you feel, the happier you become. Too many of you are living for everyone else but yourselves. You wake up each day worrying about what others need, what they expect, what will make them happy. And in the process, you forget about yourself. You silence your needs. You put your dreams on the shelf. You sacrifice your peace to make others comfortable. And every day, you become a little more drained, a little more exhausted, a little more empty. But here's the truth. You cannot pour from an empty cup. You cannot keep giving when there's nothing left for yourself. At some point, you have to say, I matter too. Prioritizing yourself isn't selfish, it's necessary. And if you keep waiting for permission to do that, you'll be waiting forever. The world will always want more. People will always take more. And if you're not careful, you'll spend your entire life being everything for everyone except yourself. You'll wake up one day and realize that while you were taking care of everyone else, you lost who you were. And is that really the life you want? Do you want to spend your days feeling unappreciated, exhausted, and invisible? Because if you keep putting everyone else first, that's exactly where you'll end up. And nobody is going to save you from that. No one is going to tell you to take care of yourself. That's a choice only you can make. And if you don't, no one else will. Some of you feel guilty for choosing yourselves, and you need to hear this. Taking care of yourself is not a crime. It doesn't make you a bad person. It doesn't mean you don't care about others. It simply means you recognize that your well-being matters too. The people who truly love you will never be offended by your boundaries. The ones who genuinely care will support you putting yourself first. But the ones who get angry, the ones who call you selfish, are the same ones who benefited from your lack of boundaries. And when you start prioritizing yourself, they lose control. That's why they resist. But you don't owe them your exhaustion. You don't owe them your constant sacrifice. You don't owe anyone a version of yourself that is tired, drained, and unhappy. You owe you peace. You owe you joy. You owe you the chance to actually live your life. Because if you spend it constantly pleasing others, constantly shrinking to fit their expectations, constantly ignoring your own needs, you will regret it. You'll look back and realize that while you were being everything for everyone, you were never anything for yourself. Your needs matter, your dreams matter, your happiness matters. And if you don't prioritize them, no one else will. Because people will take as much as you allow. They'll keep expecting, keep asking, keep taking until you have nothing left. That's why you have to be the one to say, enough. My peace matters. My joy matters. My life matters. And once you do, everything begins to change. I know some of you are thinking, but what if they get mad? What if they don't understand? Let them. Let them be mad. Let them misunderstand. Let them think whatever they want. Because at the end of the day, their opinion does not control your life. Their approval is not your oxygen. You are not responsible for how they feel about your decisions. You are only responsible for doing what brings you peace. And if prioritizing yourself makes people uncomfortable, that's only because they were happy when you were neglecting yourself. Let them go. Let them think what they want, because your peace is not up for debate. Your happiness is not a group discussion. It is your right, and you don't need anyone's permission to claim it. You have to start seeing yourself as worthy of your own love, your own care, your own time. Too many of you treat yourselves like an afterthought, like you don't deserve the same love and attention you so freely give to everyone else. And that needs to change. The way you treat yourself sets the standard for how the world treats you. If you keep putting yourself last, people will assume that's where you belong. If you keep saying yes when you want to say no, people will continue to take advantage. If you keep sacrificing your happiness to keep others comfortable, they'll keep expecting you to do it. That's why you need to stop waiting for someone to give you permission to prioritize yourself. You have to give yourself that permission. You have to decide, I am worthy of the same love I give to others. And once you do, everything starts to shift. You have to protect your energy, You have to set boundaries. You have to stop feeling guilty for doing what's best for you, because at the end of the day, you cannot save everyone. You cannot be everything for everyone and still expect to have something left for yourself. The harsh truth is, some of the people you're sacrificing for wouldn't do the same for you. Some of the people you're draining yourself for wouldn't think twice about putting themselves first. So why are you putting them ahead of you? Why are you emptying yourself for people who wouldn't fill your cup in return? It's time to stop. It's time to take your energy back. It's time to start choosing you. That doesn't mean you stop caring about others. It doesn't mean you become cold or selfish. It simply means you create balance. It means you stop neglecting yourself. It means you understand that you can love others without abandoning yourself. You can be kind without being a doormat. You can support others without destroying yourself in the process. And the people who truly love you will understand that. They'll respect that. Because real love does not ask you to sacrifice your well-being. Real love wants to see you become the best version of yourself. And that means making yourself a priority without guilt. So starting today, take care of your mind. Protect your heart. Set boundaries that protect your peace. Walk away from people who drain you. Stop saying yes when your heart is screaming no. Make time for your passions, your joy, your rest, because you deserve that. You deserve to wake up feeling refreshed, not exhausted. You deserve to live a life that brings you peace. And that will never happen if you keep putting yourself last. So take back your power. Choose yourself. Prioritize yourself without guilt. Too many of you are saying yes when everything inside you is saying no. You're overcommitting, overextending, over-sacrificing, just to keep the peace, just to avoid conflict, just to make sure no one gets upset with you. And every time you do it, you betray yourself a little more. You drain your own energy. You let resentment grow. You start to feel like your life doesn't even belong to you anymore. But let me tell you something. It is not your job to make everyone happy. It is not your responsibility to meet everyone's expectations. You are not here to be at the mercy of other people's demands. You are here to live your life. You are here to protect your peace. You are here to honor your own needs. And the first step in doing that is setting boundaries, saying no without explanation. You do not owe anyone a reason for choosing yourself. You don't need to justify why you are choosing rest over exhaustion, peace over pressure, joy over obligation. No is a complete sentence. But too many of you feel guilty when you use it. Too many of you feel like you have to soften it, explain it, wrap it in excuses, just so the other person doesn't feel rejected. And because of that, you end up saying yes when you don't mean it. You end up apologizing for having needs. You end up overcompensating, over-explaining, and over-compromising, all to avoid being misunderstood. But listen to me. People who truly respect you will respect your boundaries. The ones who don't were never invested in you. They were only invested in what you could do for them. Every time you say yes when you want to say no, you hand over control of your life. You let someone else decide how you spend your time, where your energy goes, how your life unfolds. And that's not freedom. That's not peace. That's self-abandonment. And you cannot keep abandoning yourself just to avoid disappointing others. You cannot keep sacrificing your well-being just to keep everyone else satisfied. Because someone will always be disappointed. Someone will always want more. Someone will always ask you to give, to do, to say yes just one more time. But the question is, at what cost? At the cost of your energy, your sanity, your peace? Because that's the price you're paying every time you push yourself beyond your limit. Every time you say yes out of guilt instead of love. Every time you let someone violate your boundaries because you're afraid of conflict, you are draining yourself. You are slowly losing your sense of self. And if you don't stop, you will wake up one day feeling completely empty. Boundaries are not about pushing people away or being cold or unkind. They are about self-respect. They are about saying, I will not let people treat me any kind of way. I will not allow my time to be wasted. I will not keep giving to people who only take. And the moment you start enforcing those boundaries, the moment you stop justifying yourself, stop feeling guilty for protecting your peace, everything begins to change. People start respecting you. The wrong ones start disappearing from your life. And most importantly, you start feeling free. Free from obligation, free from resentment, free from the weight of constantly trying to please people who will never be satisfied. Some of you are afraid to set boundaries because you don't want to lose people, but let me tell you something. Anyone who leaves because you enforced a boundary was only there for what they could get from you. They were never there for you. And when you stop allowing them to take advantage of you, they leave. And that's a blessing. Because you don't need people who only respect you when it benefits them. You need people who respect you because you deserve it. You have to understand, people will test your boundaries. They'll push. They'll act like they didn't hear you. They'll guilt trip you. They'll tell you that you're difficult, that you're being selfish, that you're overreacting. And that's when you stand firm. That's when you say, no, I said what I said. I meant it. I'm not changing my mind just because you don't like it. Because if you give in, if you let people walk all over you, they will never stop. They'll keep taking, keep expecting, keep demanding, until there's nothing left of you. And by the time you realize it, it might be too late. So starting today, practice this. Say no without explaining. Someone asks you to do something that drains you? No, I can't. No excuse, no over-explaining, no guilt. Someone wants you to break a boundary you set to protect your peace? No, that doesn't work for me. End of discussion. Someone tries to manipulate you, pressure you, make you feel bad for choosing yourself. I'm not available for that. Period. The moment you start saying no with confidence, the moment you stop trying to make everyone else comfortable at your own expense, the moment you decide that your peace is worth more than their approval, that's the moment you take your power back. Yes, people will talk. Yes, some will be upset. Yes, they may call you selfish or difficult. Let them talk. Let them be upset. Let them think what they want. Because at the end of the day, your peace is not up for debate. Your time is not for everyone to take. Your energy is not for people to drain. And the moment you stop explaining yourself to people who don't deserve an explanation, that's when you truly start living. Too many of you are wasting your energy trying to prove your worth to people who already know it. They just refuse to acknowledge it. You keep bending over backward, jumping through hoops, showing up for people who wouldn't lift a finger for you. And why? Because deep down you think if you just do enough, if you just say the right thing, if you prove yourself one more time, maybe they'll finally respect you. But let me tell you something. Respect is never something you should have to beg for. It's never something you should chase. It's never something you need to earn from the wrong people. Respect is either given freely or it's not given at all. If someone refuses to respect you, no amount of effort on your part will change that. Because respect that is forced isn't real, it's manipulation. Some of you are out here exhausting yourselves trying to earn what should have been given from the start. You are pouring your time, your energy, your kindness into people, just hoping that one day they'll finally see your value. But listen to me. They do see your value. They know exactly who you are. They know what you bring to the table. They just don't want to admit it. Because the moment they do, they can't take advantage of you anymore. The moment they acknowledge your worth, they lose control. So instead, they keep you chasing, keep you proving, keep you begging. Because as long as you're running after them, they hold the power. And that's exactly what they want. So what do? You stop. You stop proving. You stop chasing. You stop begging. You stop explaining yourself to people who've already made up their minds about you. Because at the end of the day, real respect is never demanded. It is recognized. It is given freely, without force, without begging, without manipulation. And if someone refuses to give you that, walk away. Walk away without another word. Walk away without another explanation. Walk away without feeling like you owe anyone a final attempt to convince them of your worth. Because the right people, the ones who truly see you, the ones who genuinely value you, will never make you fight for their respect. The hard truth is, Some people will never respect you no matter what you do. Not because you're unworthy, but because they're incapable of giving it. Some people will never acknowledge your value because doing so would require them to confront their own insecurities. It would require them to admit they've been wrong about you, and their pride won't let them do that. So instead, they treat you like you're not enough. They undermine you, test you, dismiss you, and if you're not careful, you'll spend your entire life trying to prove yourself to people who are committed to misunderstanding you. But that ends today. Today you take back your power. Today you decide you're done chasing respect, done begging for recognition, done explaining yourself to people who never really cared to listen. You decide that from now on, your presence is a privilege. Your energy is valuable. Your time is not for people who don't appreciate it. And the moment you embrace that, everything changes. The moment you stop proving yourself, you start attracting people who see your worth without needing a presentation. The moment you stop chasing respect, you start commanding it. Simply by the way you carry yourself, by the way you walk away from anything and anyone that doesn't align with your value. And yes, it's hard. It's hard to walk away when you've invested so much time trying. It's hard to stop explaining when you've made a habit of over-explaining. It's hard to stop chasing respect when you were taught that love and validation had to be earned. But hear me. The only people who make you feel like you have to prove yourself are the ones who will never truly value you. And the longer you stay in that cycle, the more you waste your energy trying to win over people who were never meant to see your worth. That's why you need to break free. That's why you need to stand tall, lift your head, and remind yourself that you are already enough. You do not have to perform for respect. You do not have to earn what should be given freely. So from this moment forward, make this your new standard. If someone does not respect you, they do not get access to you. Period. No arguments, no second chances, no proving, no chasing. If someone cannot recognize your worth, that is their loss, not yours. And you will not waste another second trying to convince them otherwise. You will not explain yourself. You will not justify yourself. You will not keep bending, shrinking, or lowering yourself to fit into spaces that do not honor you. Because the moment you stop chasing respect, the moment you stop needing people to validate you, is the moment you start truly living. Too many of you are holding on to the wrong people, hoping they'll change, hoping one day they'll wake up and treat you the way you've always deserved. But let me be real with you. You cannot force someone to value you. You cannot make someone respect you. You cannot convince someone to love you the way you love them. And the longer you hold on to people who are draining you, disrespecting you, and taking you for granted, the less space you have for the people who will actually cherish you. Because life is about energy. It's about space. And if your life is full of the wrong people, there's no room for the right ones to step in. Some of you are giving your time, your energy, your attention to people who wouldn't even notice if you walked away. And yet, you stay. You stay because you don't want to be alone. You stay because you've convinced yourself that some connection is better than no connection. You stay because you believe if you just try harder, love deeper, give more, then maybe they'll finally change. But deep down, you already know. They won't. If they wanted to, they would have already. If they cared, they wouldn't keep hurting you. They wouldn't keep ignoring you. They wouldn't keep making you feel like you're not enough. And that's why you have to let them go. Not because you hate them, not because you want revenge, not because you want to hurt them, but because you deserve better. Because your time is valuable, because your energy is sacred, because your heart is not something that should be wasted on people who cannot appreciate it. And the moment you stop entertaining the wrong people, the moment you stop responding, stop explaining, stop giving your all to people who give you nothing, that's when the right ones start showing up. The ones who see your worth without needing to be reminded. The ones who respect you without you having to demand it. The ones who never make you question where you stand in their life. But here's the thing. The wrong people don't like it when you wake up. They don't like it when you stop playing their game. They don't like it when you stop chasing, stop proving, stop being so available. So yes, they'll try to pull you back in, but this time you know better. This time you're not going back. They will suddenly act like they care. They will show just enough interest to make you doubt your decision. They will make you feel guilty, make you feel like you're being too harsh, too cold, too unforgiving. And that is when you have to stand firm. That is when you have to remind yourself exactly why you walked away in the first place. Because people don't change just because you finally had enough. They change because they want to. And if their actions haven't changed, then their words don't mean anything. Some of you are afraid to let go because you think you'll end up alone. But let me tell you something. Being alone is not the worst thing. Being surrounded by the wrong people is. Being in rooms where you are ignored, where you are unappreciated, where you are only tolerated instead of celebrated, that is worse than being alone. Because when you're alone, you have peace, you have clarity, you have space to heal, to grow, to rebuild, to create room for the connections that truly align with who you are. But when you're surrounded by the wrong people, you're constantly questioning your worth, constantly walking on eggshells, constantly trying not to upset someone who wouldn't even care if they hurt you. That's the truth. The wrong people will always drain you. They'll take, but never give. They'll use your kindness, but never return it. They'll expect you to show up for them, but never show up for you. And if you keep allowing it, they will keep doing it. Because the wrong people don't leave your life on their own. You have to close the door. You have to decide you're done. You have to choose yourself over people who would never choose you. And when you do, everything changes. The right people cannot come into your life until you make room for them, and that means letting go of those who hurt you, who disrespect you, who only reach out when they need something, who make love feel like something you have to earn. But love isn't earned. Respect isn't begged for. Loyalty should never be one-sided. The right people will give you those things freely, not because you asked, not because you proved anything, but because that's who they are. So today, ask yourself, who in your life is draining you? Who makes you feel unappreciated? Who are you still entertaining, even though deep down you know they don't deserve your time? And once you have that answer, it's time to let go. Not tomorrow, not next week, but now. Because every day you hold on to the wrong people, you are delaying the arrival of the right ones. You are blocking your blessings. You are wasting precious energy on people who were never meant to have access to you. You are keeping yourself from the happiness, the peace, the love that you deserve. The moment you stop entertaining the wrong people, the moment you stop excusing disrespect, stop settling for less, stop allowing behavior that drains your soul, is the moment the right people begin to show up. The ones who see your worth without you having to prove it. The ones who respect you without needing to be reminded. The ones who don't make you question where you stand. But here's the thing, the wrong people don't like it when you wake up. They don't like it when you stop chasing. They don't like it when you stop proving, when you stop making yourself constantly available. So yes, they'll try to pull you back in. Yes, they'll suddenly remember you. Yes, they'll test your boundaries. But this time, you hold the line. Because too many people spend their entire lives living for others, trying to meet expectations they never agreed to, trying to impress people who barely even notice, trying to fit into molds that were never made for them. And in the process, they lose themselves. They sacrifice their dreams, their passions, their peace, just to avoid disappointing others. But let me tell you something. You will never truly be happy if your life is lived for someone else's approval. Because no matter what you do, no matter how much you give, no matter how hard you try, it will never be enough for people who only see you for what you can do for them. Think about it. How much of your life is really yours? How many of your decisions have been based on your wants instead of someone else's expectations? How often have you put your happiness on hold just to keep someone else comfortable? Some of you are carrying burdens that were never yours. You're making choices based on fear of judgment, fear of disappointing your parents, fear of rejection, fear of what people might say if you choose yourself. But their expectations are not your responsibility. Their opinions do not define your worth. Their disappointment is not your burden to carry. You could spend your entire life trying to please people, and they would still find something wrong with you. They would still judge. They would still criticize. They would still tell you you should have done it differently. Because the moment you live for their expectations, you hand them the keys to your happiness. And that's why so many people feel lost, empty, frustrated. Because they've spent so long trying to be what everyone else wants, they no longer know who they really are. But you weren't born to meet expectations. You were born to live. And living means doing what makes your soul come alive. It means chasing dreams that set your heart on fire, not dreams that just look good on paper. It means making choices that bring you peace, even if they disappoint others. It means standing tall in your truth, even when no one else understands it. Because the moment you stop living for others, the moment you stop basing your worth on how well you fit into someone else's plan, is the moment you start feeling free. And that freedom, that space where you no longer need to perform, is where happiness begins. But let's be honest, choosing yourself isn't easy. It's not easy to say no to the expectations you've carried your whole life. It's not easy to walk away from tradition, from family pressure, from society standards. It's not easy to disappoint people, even when you know it's necessary. But ask yourself, what is the cost of continuing to live for everyone else? What happens if you spend the next 10 years doing what makes others happy, while slowly draining your joy? What happens if you waste your life becoming who they want, and never become who you really are? Because that's exactly what's at stake. Your life, your joy, your peace, your sense of purpose. And no amount of approval is worth sacrificing that. When it's all said and done, when you look back, the only thing that will truly matter is whether you lived your life, whether you followed your heart, whether you made choices that aligned with your truth, not someone else's. And if the answer is no, if you spent your entire life trying to make everyone else happy while your own soul suffered, was it really worth it? Let me tell you something. The people who truly love you will want you to be happy, not just obedient, not just acceptable, not just convenient. The ones who only love you when you fit into their box, that's not love, that's control. And you don't owe anyone control over your life. You don't owe anyone the right to dictate your path. You don't owe anyone the power to determine your happiness. Because the truth is, happiness is not found in meeting expectations. It's found in breaking free from them. And the moment you start living for yourself, really living, you'll notice something powerful. The pressure fades, the stress lessens, the constant need for approval disappears, and the weight of trying to be everything for everyone finally lifts. When you live for yourself, you don't need permission. You don't need validation. You don't need to explain your every move. You just get to be. You get to wake up every day knowing you are building a life that is authentic, meaningful, and completely yours. So today, make the decision. Stop living for expectations that don't fulfill you. Stop carrying burdens that don't belong to you. Stop letting people guilt you into living a life you don't want. Start living for yourself. Start choosing peace. Start following your own path, even if no one else understands it. Because real, deep, lasting happiness begins the moment you decide your life is yours to live. Life is too short to waste on people who don't appreciate you, expectations that don't serve you, and battles that only leave you feeling empty. You weren't placed on this earth to prove your worth over and over, to beg for love, to shrink yourself just to avoid making others uncomfortable. You were meant to live boldly, to walk in your purpose, and to embrace the kind of freedom that comes from respecting yourself enough to put yourself first. Not out of selfishness, but out of self-worth. Because when you start choosing yourself, when you stop chasing, when you finally let go of the wrong people and the wrong things, everything starts to shift. The need for validation fades, the anxiety of approval disappears, and the peace you've been searching for begins to find you. There's something powerful about realizing you don't owe anyone an explanation for your boundaries, that you don't have to keep people in your life just because of history, that you don't have to sacrifice your happiness for the comfort of others. The more you care about what people think, the more miserable you become. The moment you stop entertaining the wrong people, you make space for the right ones. The less you focus on things that drain you, the more joy you invite into your life. These aren't just ideas. They're truths that can change everything. Happiness comes when you stop living for other people's expectations and start living for your own. When you wake up each day and ask yourself, what do I want? What brings me peace? What feels right for the person I'm becoming? Instead of, what will they think? What will they say? That shift in mindset changes everything. It gives you confidence. It gives you clarity. It gives you permission to prioritize yourself without guilt, without shame. And when you do that, you realize the people who truly love you will support you, not control you. Letting go isn't easy. Setting boundaries will make some people uncomfortable. Choosing yourself will upset those who only benefited from your lack of self-respect. But you have to remind yourself, you were never meant to live for them. You were meant to live for the life you were called to, the purpose that was meant for you, and the happiness that's waiting on the other side of fear. Stop proving, stop chasing, stop begging for what should be given freely. The right people will never need to be convinced of your worth. And the ones who can't respect your boundaries were never meant to be in your life in the first place. It's time to take back control. It's time to prioritize yourself without apology. Say no without explanation. Detach from anything and anyone that no longer serves you. And trust that when you finally let go of what's holding you back, something greater will take its place. The peace you desire, the love you deserve, the happiness you've been longing for, it all starts with one decision: to live for you, unapologetically and without regret. Thank you for your time, your energy, and your willingness to reflect on these truths. I hope these words resonate with you, inspire you, and give you the strength to walk boldly into the life you were always meant to live, with peace, with confidence, and without looking back.